Hi everyone, I'm just making sure you can see me on camera there. Let's make sure wait for the delay. Hurry up. So you're not looking the side of my face. No, you can't see me. Right, hi everyone. As you can see, I've had to move to the kitchen for today's lesson. And we're going to be creating this in about 5 minutes or so. When it's 2 o'clock, we'll get started. And this is from a guy's got some great ideas online. I'll talk about him when we get near with the time. I am in the kitchen, so if you do hear the pitter patter of feet going around, that is just my rabbit. So you can just try and ignore him. And we'll get started in 5 minutes. So good afternoon, everyone who's down. I can see Milo. Who else is there? Tom, Drew. I saw Lucy, Millie, Charlie, and Lucas. Lots of you down there, so it's good to see you. Okay. Actually, seeing we've got a few minutes, why don't I go and get Buster so you can say hello, so you can see who's making the noise. Move these out the way, 2 seconds. So this is my Buster. Oh, here's an indoor rabbit. It's a dwarf rabbit. I don't know whether you can see on camera. Aren't you, matey? So if you hear any pitter patter, it's just him running around on the kitchen floor. But we'll get him down because he doesn't like being up there. Alright, come on, matey. Anyway, okay, this is what we're going to be creating. If you need to know what you need for the lesson, there's only a couple of things actually. It's in the description. The main things, you need a toilet roll and masking tape. You could use other things, but as we're going through the lesson, I'll talk about what it is exactly you need and what you can use as alternatives. Okay, and we'll get started. Let's have a look. 2 minutes or so, and we will get started. Obviously, if you haven't got all the stuff, or you only got some of the stuff, and you want to make it later, this lesson will be available after it's finished going live. Hi Buster, off the light please. Will be available after it's been live, so you can come back once you've got the stuff and go through it. Then. Hi Nate, do you want me back on? He's wanting to say hello again. Are you? He is. He's wanting to say hello. Say hello to everybody. Say hello. Whoop. Sorry. I think he's a bit annoyed because we're taking up his space. New people would like Buster more than me. Let's have a look. Right, 1 minute, 2. So Buster, you're going to have to say bye before we get started. Don't walk on my art. This way. Right, you go and have a sit down. Isabel, if you don't have PVA glue, that's okay. Don't worry about it. I'll tell you why you might need it, and what other things you can use as we're going through. And I think some of the things you maybe even not use PVA glue at all if you haven't got it. Okay, I'll see it as we're going through. But I'll just walk you through it as we're going through. So, it is, let's have a look, 1 o'clock now, sorry, 2 o'clock now, getting mixed up. So, let's start the lesson. Okay, so today, we're going to create some sort of 3D art, okay, and it links in with what we're looking at science. It is to do with space. Okay, now the one that I've picked, now I actually done it quite quickly when I was painting it, but I'll go over that again, okay, because I was in a rush. So yours are going to look 10 times better than this, I am pretty sure. So These are from a great person, a guy on Twitter. He's called Daryl Wakelam, okay? And he has got lots of things up there, okay, with the instructions like this. I don't know whether the light's shining off the iPad there, okay, but I will pop that in the way. So, it gives us instructions. He has got loads of these up, not just for the thing that we are doing. I will show you some at the end of the lesson. Okay, I'll show you some of the different things you make. Now, I'll pick the one that's quite easy and didn't need many things to do, many things in the house to make, because I wanted most people to be able to do the lesson, and I thought if we needed a minimum amount of things, that would be best. Now, you can see mine. I put on some black card, okay? So when we start a new one, we're going to be starting with some black card. Now, because it's a rocket, it's in space, that's why I picked the black card, because obviously it's the same colour as space. Obviously, if you don't have any black card, you could pick different colour. If you do have card would be best, but you could pick blue if it was still going up in the sky and have clouds around it, or you could pick any colour that you wanted. If you had white, you could colour it in. It would take you a long time, but you could do something in the background and stuff as well. But we start with some black card. Obviously, if you have paper, you can stick with the paper as well, but it'll be a bit more sturdy if we have the card. Okay, so the card and the toilet rolls are the main thing you need. Now, I have said 3 to 4 in the description. I think if you practice this, you could probably do this with 2 toilet roll tubes. Okay, however, if you've got more, it makes it easier for you to be able to, in case you make a mistake, and we know what Mr. B's like, he always makes mistakes. So as you can see, he has lots of tubes. Okay, and just to get a bit of a practice, so you don't have to worry too much about getting it perfect. So we are going to start, and I'm going to have the instructions next to me as I'm going through, okay, because it's the best way to do it. And if you do any of the other art on Daryl Wakelam's site, I would suggest you do the same. Now, with everything, yours doesn't have to look exactly the same as mine, exactly the same as the person who made the instructions up. You should be using your creativity and using the ideas that you've been given, on here to copy the main parts of it. But we want them to look different. If they all look the same, it wouldn't be amazing. So, first thing we do is we need to get a toilet roll tube. Okay, and we need some scissors. Now, make sure you are safe when you're using scissors. Okay, make sure you've got a safety pair of scissors, something like that. If you want your parent to do any cutting for you because you're a little bit younger, you can as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut a straight line down this tube. Now, what I'm going to do, wait 2 seconds. I'm going to move my laptop a bit closer just so I can see the chat in case anyone's asking any questions. As we are going, because I can't see it with my old eyes from all the way over there. So, okay. So we have got it cut there. So, okay, we look at the tube. I've just put one line down. Now what I want to do is I want to do a line sort of opposite there. So I'm basically halving the tube into 2 half circles. So I'm doing that now. Okay. So now you can see my tube. I'm going to cut 2 lines down it. So I have 2 separate tubes. Okay. Now again, this can depend on the size of your rocket. What we are doing first is we are making the main part of our rocket. And as we can see, it gets a bit shorter as it goes along, and it is getting thinner as well. And it's an easy way to do that. Now, what I'm now going to use is the second thing that I think is essential. We're going to place it around about where we want it first. We're not going to stick it down. Okay, and I'm going to get my second part. Okay, and as we can see, the second parts get a little bit shorter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to think, right, how far do I want my second one? How far do I want my third one? And it doesn't have to be exact. So I'm going to say, right, I'm going to cut it around about there. Okay, so now I have the 3 tubes getting smaller as they go along, and I'm going to try and get an angle as they're on, and you can see that there. Now, as well as, and remember during these videos, if you need to pause, if you need to take your time, if you're going a bit slow, that is absolutely fine. And see someone asking about the guy who puts all these great ideas up on Twitter. It's in the description. It's called Daryl Wakelam. It's in the description his Twitter handle, so you can use that to go to his. I don't know if he has any other social accounts, but that's the one that you normally do. Okay, what was that message that Mrs. Carthy has just sent me there? Okay, we'll refresh that. What are you saying, Mrs. Carthy? Are you winding me up? Still making notes on my hand. Yes, I am. There's some song requests for the disco tomorrow. So yes, so now we should have 3, okay? We've had time to get 3. Now you can see on my robot, as well as them getting shorter, they get a little bit thinner as well. And the easy way that we're going to do that is I'm going to cut a little strip off there. Now your best bet, if you have spare toilet rolls, okay, I would start smaller and then start to get smaller if you want to do it. So I'm just going to cut about that much off my middle one. Okay, and I can just put that to the side there. Might use that later on. And now my tube is going to be a little bit thinner, and I'm happy with that. I don't want to go any thinner than that. Now on the last one, obviously I want that one to be even thinner, so I need to cut off a little bit more than I did last time. So you can see, if I compare those two, it's about double the thickness, isn't it? So I've doubled about how much I've took off, and I'll squeeze that a bit to make it so it's there. And when I stick it down, it's going to be there. So first thing I would do is I will position your main part of your rocket at what angle you want, okay? Now, because of the length of it, obviously I'm going to have a diagonal, but you could have it going that way. You can have it going at a real angle or a short angle. So I'm going to pick the exact angle I want before I start to stick things down, okay? Don't just go in and stick the first one down and then realise, oh, I'm too far across. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit closer that way, actually. Okay, and now I'm going to stick them down. So I'm going to stick my first one down, and I'm going to use some masking tape. Now I'll should tell you the reason why I'm using masking tape. Masking tape, okay, can be painted over. Now when I stick it down, I'm just going to put a little strip there. A bit much there. Oh no, it wasn't a bit much, it was the right amount. Okay, I'm going to stick this across my rocket. You do a bit of a longer piece. I'm just going to stick an extra bit on there. Okay. Now you can see I've got little bits that are coming off the end there because that's what I'm going to stick to the paper like this. Now you don't want those pieces being massive, okay? And I'll tell you why. Because you need enough to secure and keep the actual tube on the paper, but this is going to stay on the paper and we're going to paint over it. So the more you've got, okay, the more you're going to be able to see the paint over it, or your felt tips, or whatever it is. That is the reason we're using masking tape, okay? Masking tape is really, really good because you can paint over it, you can draw over it. Sellotape, it's got a shiny sort of finish, and you can't colour or paint over it. So if you're sticking anything together and making anything, masking tape, which isn't that expensive, okay, and you can get off Amazon because obviously we can't go to the shops and stuff there now. I think I got 3 rolls for a couple of £1, okay. You can paint over it, you can do felt tips over it. So whatever art project you're doing, masking tape is brilliant, and that's why we're using it, okay. If you don't have any masking tape, you can try and use some glue, but obviously the reason we've used it, if we look here, the tube is very, very thin, so there's not much for us to glue on. Now you could put PVA glue on there and stick it on if you don't have tape, or you could just wait until you get tape and have a go then. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stick my next one down. So I'm going to get my 2 pieces of tape. Okay, and I'm going to stick them over the tube. Either too long or too short, okay? And this one is far too long. But I'm going to leave it a bit longer. And what I want to do is have this just sort of right underneath where the other tube ends, okay? And be careful because wherever you stick it's going to stay. So if I want it like that, I'm going to squeeze it together before I stick it. So I'm going to squeeze it a little bit and stick it down, okay? So make sure you've got it exactly where you want before you get the tape in, and then really stick that tape down, okay? and masking tape as well on card. Can you see that? I can take that off. If that was sellotape, I would be ripping the paper off. So masking tape is a brilliant thing to use. Yes, I'm sorry, Francis, I can't lend you any. I've been saving them for weeks because I knew I was going to try and do some art project with them. It's good to see you along, watch along, get some ideas, and then when you have got some, obviously you can have a go. And then lastly, on my last one, I think I'll probably, with how thick mine is, only need one piece of tape. Now, if you've got two pieces of tape, sorry, a bit longer piece on your sort of last, the piece nearest the end of the rocket, you can see that I've put a bit much on, so I'm just tearing it off. Masking tape's really easy to tear. I'm going to squeeze it before I put it down, and again I'm wanting to put it just under there. Okay, so now I have the main body of my rocket. Now, although obviously you can see the tape, if you have a look here, I still actually do have, if I get really close, I try not to paint there, you can see I still do have the tape on, it's just been painted, so from far away. Okay, so don't worry that tape is there, just paint over it and we'll not be able to see it. Okay, I'm just seeing on the delay on the video, all you can see is my fingers. Sellotapes, Milo, if that's all that you have, it's absolutely fine. Use it for now, get them stuck down, but then wait until you've got some masking tape. You could just put the masking tape over it before you paint it or before you do the felt tips or anything like that. Okay, so you could make it and then do that one afterwards. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to make these two parts, the sort of wings at the back. So I'm going to get my second. Okay, I'll keep these bits there. Always keep your bits of tube. Don't discard them because you can use them for different things. Now I'm going to make these things. So what I'm going to do is get my second tube and I'm going to cut one line down it again. Okay. Now this is less to have the curves and it's more, I'm just wanting sort of a flat piece of cardboard at the minute. Okay. So once I have cut that and I've curved it out, I'm going to cut a strip. Now the thickness of the strip is going to see how thick these are. So I've got to think it's got to fit there. So I'm going to do about that thickness. Okay. Okay. So I've got my tube. I cut it in half. Okay. And then it was like that. And I've just cut a line down. So I now have a straight piece of cardboard. And what I'm going to do with my straight piece of cardboard is halfway down the middle, I'm going to cut a diagonal line. Can you see that? Okay. The more accurate they are, the better it's going to be because we want these to be the same size. For time, I'm just eyeballing it. Okay. And you can see that was our long strip. Now we have the two sides of our rocket. Now it's up to you how you do this. You could tape them down, okay, or you could use PVA if you have PVA glue. So I've got some PVA glue. The reason I've said PVA glue as well, you can Pritt stick it down if you want, but PVA glue will dry clear, okay, and I've picked up the one that isn't open, cut open. We'll just cut this one open. Obviously, if you need to cut any glues or anything open, get adults to do them for me, please. Fire it over there. Okay, so I'm going to put a bit of PVA glue there, not too much. Okay, and I want to make sure I get the excess off before I go around because I don't want, even though it will dry clear, I don't want loads of strands and everything all around my piece. Otherwise, it'll just not look as good. Okay, I'll be able to see like the stains, even though it's clear if I get really close. I'm going to hold it down a little bit to stick on, and I'm going to put that other one. Like I said, if you've only got Pritt stick, because this is underneath, that should work. Or if you've got your tape, you could use your tape and stick it over. But remember, when you do that, you need to paint over it. On this first one, I didn't have my PVA glue when I first made the rocket, and I actually used tape on it. Okay, so now I have those stuck down. Okay, put the top on there. And you can see as well, goes without any shadow of doubt what I mentioned in my other videos, I've got paper underneath here to protect the surface. Make sure, even though I'm not planning on painting or anything at the minute, I'm making sure I have got the paint on there. Miss Kathy with some good tips there in the chat about using sellotape. And she sent us a message about how to do it. Yeah, so you could stick sellotape down and fold it. Okay, so fold it the sellotape over on itself if you don't have it. No, Mrs. Carthy is the oracle of art and crafts, don't we? So it's good that she's given us some tips. Right, so we've got this pit. Now what we're going to do, we can see we've got this tail fin that sticks up there. So what we need to do is we need to cut along here a line that it is going to go into. Okay, and I'm going to do it just short of where those go up to. Okay, and you're best off doing it shorter rather than too long at the start, and then you can go off over afterwards. Now, what I'm going to do with my tube, okay, so this is the same tube that I had before that I've cut, that I made these with, okay. I'm going to make one that is about the same thickness, so I am putting it there and putting a little snip, so I know it's, this pin here is going to be the same thickness because it would be on a rocket, okay, and then I can see it goes up to there, so I'm going to do about the same. Now, it doesn't have to be exact, okay, and I've done a little line up there. Then once you've done a straight line, we are going to go diagonal, okay, and then lastly straight again. So the last piece will look like that. You can see goes in there. Okay, so I've went up, diagonal, and then along. All right, and you produce that sort of shape. Okay, so I'll show you again. Goes in there. So we went up, diagonal, and along. And I used that, okay, to get a rough size to try and make it around about the same size. Now, this is going to stick in there, but to help it, what I'm going to do is down here, you might want to make that one bigger just to make it stick out, is when we've got that like that, down there on that short straight bit, I am going to cut a line. Not all the way down though. I'm just going to cut it for there for now, and I'll see how that goes. So, just going to straighten this out a bit because you see obviously it's in the curve of the toilet roll. Not straight at the minute, but we are going to make it straighter. Okay, so we are going to put that in there and make sure my little, and I've actually done this line a little bit too long. Okay, so remember when I said make it shorter first? So my line technically only needs to go up to there, but I'm okay with it. Okay, we learn, and I'm going to stick that in, so that goes there. Okay, and I might use a bit of tape to show that up if I want to. Okay, so do a little bit of tape there, a little bit of tape there, but it seems to be holding there now, and you can see it's standing up. As I said, it's standing up, it's there. So because it's going down, because of how it is, okay, the bigger you make that, the probably sturdier it's going to be. I might put a little bit of tape in to make that sturdy. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it over the same bit of the other tape, so I haven't got loads of tape on my rubber that I'm going to be painting over. Okay, I can paint over it, but it's better if I don't have to. And I'll put another little bit on the other side. Okay, so hold it where it is, and then really get the tape into those corners to keep that up, and that's going to keep that up there. Okay, so just put the tape, stand it up and put the tape on. You really need to push the tape into this crease, into this crevice, to make sure it's sticking and keeping it up. So we have the main part of it done now. Now what we need to do is we need to add a few little bits of detail. We need to add a nose cone, a little bit here to join, and some boosters at the back. So I'm still only on my second piece, okay? But this is what I found the hardest bit to do, and I had to do a couple of times, so that's why I had some spares. So I'm going to show you what to do. Hopefully I'll get it first time because I had a practice go. So I've got my tube, okay, and that's where I cut it up. I've cut my line there, and I'm going to start here. And what I'm going to do is a little bit along, I'm going to start doing a curve. Okay. And when I do my curve, I want to come back and be about the same distance away from the edge. Okay, and put that aside. That's what I need. So I've done this sort of curve here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, okay, is I'm going to start right at that corner and start another curve. How the other one sort of bends, going all the way to the other corner. Okay, so that's what I've got left of my tube, and I've created that sort of shape, like a smiley face. Now, if your first one doesn't turn out like that or anything like that, different shape, things like that, and you still have spare toilet rolls, either 3 or 4, then have a practice. Just do a cut down one until you sort of get that shape, and that's what you're looking for. Okay, now this part is going to join these two here. Now I can see obviously mine's too long at the minute. Now I know I'm not looking at the minute because I know it's going to be all the way around, so if I cut that bit off, that's okay. Okay, I'm making it smaller, and it's going to sort of curve round into that part. Okay, so I'm getting it, bending it, making it sure it is the right shape. Now it's still too long. Okay, so I had my finger there to make sure it gets on the other side, so I'm just shortening the tube down each time to make sure it looks around about that. Okay, so you see when I was doing that curve, I was trying to make it the same shape as this curve here, and I'm going to stick that there as that part. So I'm going to get some PVA glue, okay, and put it on the back of this. Again, you could tape it if you wanted to, if you don't have the glue, PVA, but this is a bit of a part where we need the curve in, and my fingers are going to get some glue on and get sticky there. You can see trying to push that down as it goes, and I need to hold that a little bit to try and keep it on, because much of the actual cardboard touching each other, and that's where the glue is going to join, isn't it? So I can feel that coming off now at the minute. So if I can feel it coming off, I'm going to do, I've got a little section of glue here. I'm going to got a little spreader. I'll put a little bit on the end there and stick that down this side. Now again, PVA glue can be washed off your hands as well, which is another really good thing. It's starting to stick down. I can see it's coming off on the other side. There's a bit of glue there though, so I'm just using the glue that's already there. And this is probably the hardest part of it, okay? And it's not a really hard section to do, okay, but this is the probably hardest part that I found of it. You might find this easy, and I'm just holding it down so it sticks. Let's hope my fingers don't stick. Okay. Now we can see it's starting to stick there. I want to quickly rinse my fingers. And oh, it's popped off as I went, so I've taken my fingers off too early, and I'm just going to stick it down. Now obviously if you've got more time and things, you can take your time with this. You can cut the lines a bit neater. I'm trying to make sure this lesson doesn't run too long, so I am just getting them down as quick as I can, taking a bit of time so you can have a go while you are doing it. Okay, what I might do, I'm going to put a little bit of tape there, keep it down. Now I might be able to take that tape off later, okay, but if I can't, I can obviously glue over the top, don't we? And we have that part down there now. So I've got that glue, that tape's technically doing the job of my fingers. So got the main part, us nearly make the cone and here. So with the cone as well, it can be a little bit tricky. Now this is still the second one, so I'm showing how you can do it with just two. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a triangle but with a sort of curve, okay? Now you can do it at the corner, but I'm just going to do it in the middle here because I've got plenty of spare parts. Actually, I'll try and do it the side here, so I'll do it with one. So I'm going to do a sort of triangle with a curve, and you'll see what I mean. Okay, can you see that triangle, but it's curved? And I'm going to do the same distance away, and then curve this round. So I've got a triangle there, that's a sort of a curve, okay? And when I've got that, I'm going to start squeezing that. Now, the more symmetrical it is, the better. Okay, so I'm going to give that a little twist, okay? The more symmetrical that is, the better. And I can see I'm curving it with my fingers before I stick it down, okay? So I'm curving it. And I'm putting down. Now, the first thing I've noticed is my nose cone is far too small, not getting into space with that one. That's why we brought some spare ones down. So I remember how big I did my nose cone last time, and this time I'm going to make it a lot bigger. Not a lot bigger, just a little bit bigger. And this is why we have the spares, and we check things before we stick them down. So now I've made the nose cone bigger. I'm going to make it more symmetrical. Okay, so I've got that triangle shape with the sort of sides a little bit curved, and I'm curving it, sort of nearly making a fold down the middle, but not quite, so it's more of a curve there. And I can stick it there, and you can see I'm at the right size there now, and I'm sticking it just inside where that end bit is. Okay, now this one, again, because there's not much touching, I'm just going to use some tape to stick this nose cone down. Okay, so I'm going to put the nose, take it off the paper, get my nose cone, make sure it's the right shape, make sure it's the right position, then get the tape down and really get it into those crevices. Okay, and you can see I've got the top part of my rocket. Okay, this is why it's always good to have spares, because now I've got less left, haven't I, because I had to make my second one. But I've still got to make my boosters. Now I probably still would have enough, so even though I've made that mistake, I could still probably do it with 2 toilet rolls. But we don't have to worry about that, because from what I've seen in the chat, I think you all have some extra one. Yes, I can see the chat's quite quiet, Drew. I think everyone's focusing on what they're trying to do. Told me I was looking okay. That's brilliant. I'm obviously expecting some pictures afterwards to see how well you've all done. Now, our rockets, you can see here, are at the back. So, what we're going to do is we are going to create 3 little shapes at the bottom that will create the rockets. I'm going to try and use the same piece of cardboard, so we're only using 2 tubes. Okay, so what I want to try and do, now I want to put a little bit of curve on mine, you don't have to put yours, is I'm cutting a line up there, and a line up there, so I'm sort of drawing a triangle, so cutting a triangle, but then before I get to the tip of the triangle, I'm going to cut it straight. Okay, so you can see it's going up as if if we continued, we'd have a triangle, but I've cut it straight before the end. Okay, now you need to decide as well what size you want them. You might want you have your 2 at the side here smaller than a bigger one in the middle, which I think I'm going to do. So I want my one on the other side about the same size. So I'm just going to use the same piece of cardboard, and then I can have a look, can't I, of the size of them, make them about the same, well, make them the same height there. Now as well, if you wanted to, make sure you could just cut that triangle out, okay, and then just cut the end off. Okay, so you could cut a triangle bit off and cut the end off. Now, I'm going to fold that the other way, just because of the way it looks, and where I'm wanting to put it on my rocket. Okay, it's got 2 there, and I'm going to make a bigger one for the middle. So I am going to use another piece of cardboard, but you can see there, apart from this one little booster, and I've still got some scraps left, so I could have made one, but just to make it easier and make it quicker for the video, I'm going to make it here. Now it may look like I'm cutting a really big one, but it's just, oh, angles off a little bit there. It looks bigger until, so I've got my triangle again. This one's a little bit bigger, and I'm going to cut the top off. Okay, and you can see that one's a bit bigger, so I'm going to curve it more, and that one is going to pop in the middle. Okay, so I'm happy with that one looking a little bit bigger. Remember what I said, you don't have to have an exact replica, and this one's different from the one I did here, a little bit with the boosters and the cord and things like that. I made this one a bit longer, so you don't have to be exactly the same. That's not a sign of how good it is. A sign of it is if you like it and you do the things that you are wanting. Okay. Now, there are two ways to stick these down. You can use PVA glue, but what I did is use tape, because tape's going to be a little bit better, and because of where they are, I don't have to worry too much about the tape, and I'll show you why. I've got a really thin part, okay, and I'm going to stick the tape actually underneath the rocket, so I don't have to worry about painting over that. Now, I probably will when I get to painting this, but I don't have to. So that's it there. Get another little bit of tape. So I'm going to tear my tape off, and then I'm actually going to rip my tape into two to make it thinner. Okay. Make sure I am squeezing it together so it's got the right look that I want before I stick it onto the paper. Again, I'm squeezing it, I'm getting that shape before I put it down and before I stick it exactly where I need. So there now, you can see I have the three blasters, and that is all that we need the cardboard for. Okay, so we've got all that cardboard, and I'm going to move this one a little bit, put a little bit more tape on. Again, that's the great thing with masking tape. You can redo this, whereas if I was using something else, I'd have to be a lot more sure as I'm putting it down. And on my last one there. So we have those three bits there. So like I said, that is all that we need the cardboard for. Now, I did make that mistake with the cone, making it far too small, but still only just used over 3 toilet roll tubes. Okay, so just over two toilet roll tubes. So 2 and a bit you can make this with. Now what we're going to do is we are going to add some detail. So you can see I've got these things on. Now I put in the thing suggested using spaghetti, but you can use all sorts. Be careful with them, but you can maybe use matchsticks or whatever it is to add detail on. Now we can add detail when we paint it or when we do felt tip, but the detail that we're talking about now is detail that is 3D and stick out. So you might want to use, I don't know, buttons or something like that for windows, like porthole type windows that we're having on there. Lots of things that you can put on. So I'll show you what I use for that. I thought I'm going to do a strip down the middle. I might do it different this time. Okay, I'm going to do these ones in the middle first. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put my spaghetti on there so I can snap it. Okay, and I snap it a little bit longer so I can then make sure it's right, snap a little bit off. And I've got my piece that's going to go there. Now, because I'm going to have one on the other side, I know it's going to be the same length, so I will use that one to snap. And there we go, these are going to go there. And this is what we're going to use the PVA glue for, okay? Because these are very light, sort of 3D things that we are adding on. Make sure I get those threads off before I remove the glue, okay? I don't want to use tape because it might be thicker than the things that we are adding on, and I'm just going to stick these in with the glue that I've put on to add little details there. Okay, you can see adding one on the end there, so you might want to add something on that one. I think I'm going to leave it off this one. But I like these things here, but I'm going to make them a little bit longer this time. So snap my spaghetti. I like that length. Okay, so again, I'm going to use the one I've already snapped to make sure I am doing the same length. Okay, I'm going to put a bit glue down. You can use a spreader to be neater. Okay, let's see, I'm making sure I'm getting those threads of glue off before I just move the glue anywhere. Okay. I don't want the glue going everywhere. I'd rather on my finger than my work, because it smudges when it goes on, as you can see there. Maybe not on the camera, but up close you can. And when you're sticking the spaghetti in, or whatever it is in as well, into the glue, be careful as you stick it that your finger's not going into the glue, and then when you pick it up, you've got threads and they're going all over your piece of work. Okay. And what I'm going to do as well, I'm going to start adding that line down the middle. Okay, so I'm going to go to there, so I need to snap about there. Is that the right size? Yeah, just a little bit too long. It's harder actually to get snapped the little bits off than the bigger bits. As well, you might want to put them there as well. Okay, it's up to you. That might be a bit more a bit trickier. Sorry, completely up to you. And then I'm going to have one going along there. Now remember, this is extra detail I'm adding. You do not have to copy this exactly the same. And I haven't copied exactly the same as the man who made the tutorial for this. I haven't copied his as well exactly. Because it's all about what we want it to look like. So if yours looks different, you don't like exactly how mine's look when I'm assembling, and that's fine. So what I'm going to do, I'll put my little bit of glue here, and I need to be careful when I stick this spaghetti on, okay? Because when I stick it on, I don't want to push really, really hard, because now it's on one of the tubes, isn't it? So I don't want to squash the tube. So the glue there will stick it. I'm just making sure it is firm, get it in place in the right exactly before it dries, and there it is in there. Do the same and make sure my glue line's here. Now you might want to put the glue onto the spaghetti, and that would probably be a better choice. Oh, which bit was it for here? Oh, this one. You glue onto the spaghetti might be a better choice. Okay. Just a bit of excess glue, take it off there. And my last little bit. Yeah, as well, don't push the spaghetti down too hard. Good point, Miss Carthy, because you don't want the spaghetti to actually snap, because it's very... This is what we call in our house our posh spaghetti. I don't know if it's linguine or something, I'm not sure. But this is our posh spaghetti, so it's a little bit thicker, so that's why I picked this one. Okay, oh, not that strong though, is it? But that's why I picked that one. So I've got my lines going down there. And I may as well, I'll put the little, sort of the tip on there. It's okay, Millie, if you're a little bit behind, if you're on the nose cone because you ran out of tape. That is absolutely fine. Remember, you can watch the video back with the little parts. Okay, if you're at the nose cone, you're nearly sort of at the decoration stage, which you don't need much help with, because you can decorate anything you can. So the spaghetti, I don't know if there's anyone got any suggestions in the chat of what other things you could use. I mentioned matchsticks. Mrs. Carthy might have some good ideas. You could use some buttons for window holes and things like that. Quite a few different things you could use to decorate it around the house. Obviously, if you are using things around the house to decorate it, please have permission. Make sure it is things that you can use. I don't want your parents getting on to me because I've told you to stick lots of things on to your beautiful art project. Okay, so we have now got our rocket. Oh, if I can get it. Try and get a bit closer. And we have all the spaghetti on it to give it that little bit of extra detail. Okay, don't lift yours up, you can see mine's going apart a little bit. It's all taped down, okay? And that is all we need to do in order to actually make our rocket. Okay, Miss Carthy's mentioned string there. Yeah, you could use string. String's really good because obviously you can make shapes with it and stick it on. That's a really good idea, Miss Carthy, and you that you would use one. Miss Allison, you are jumping the gun. I'm going to get onto that one, but good, really good idea. You could use, obviously, look at all this cardboard that I've got left. Okay, I could use that to make things, make windows, make stuff that I'm going to add on. How you decorate the rocket is a choice that is completely up to you. Okay, and it should be, and that's, like I said, we should be taking inspiration from other artists and ideas, not just completely copying and always add them. Yes, Miss Allison, oops. Bottle lids for windows. Mrs. Carthy, sounds like you've done this before. Okay, so once I've got to this stage, I am now onto the stage where I can start decorating it. Now, you might have used black card, you might have used a different colour card, completely up to you. But what I used, because I used black card, I had a silver Sharpie, so I added stars on there, okay, and used it to make a moon up in this top corner. Obviously, you could add any planets there. You could do the bottom, the top of a planet in different colours. If it is on card, you'd probably have to use paint for that, because we're not going to see the felt tips on the card. But the paint, you could draw some brilliant planets and other things like that. They would be awesome to see. Now, with the actual rocket, you can see I painted mine. Now, it's up to you. You can paint yours, or you could use felt tip to do them. I would say paint is probably the best, but you can use paint to do them. When you are using paint to do it though, or even when you're using felt tip, I would leave your rocket for a little while, because you want to make sure this PVA glue has dried. Okay, you might want to get, and I can just see mine now, and this is the top tip. Okay, I've just got some kitchen roll. I can see there's a little bit excess glue coming out the side of the spaghetti. So before it dries, I'm just going to dab really, really carefully. And I don't have to, because it's going to dry clear, but I can see some is in clumps, so it would show up. So I'm just getting that glue up and getting it out of the way. Okay, so you can really take time with that one. Same with the paper. So you could decorate with paper, you could do it with paint. I did mine grey. You could do yours any colour you wanted to. If you do have windows and stuff, you can draw those types of things. Silver crayons on the black card would look really, really good. Yeah, who was that mentioned that? I think that's Charlie, is that? I think it's Charlie. Okay, so you can decorate it in lots of different ways. Now, also, another thing that you could do, which is one that I didn't do because I didn't have any in my house, but I'm just going to wait and make sure this loads up. I have got the example of the one made. Okay, so actually before we get on to that, Miss Allison also mentioned foil. You could use foil to decorate it. Okay, so rather than colouring it in, if you don't have pens, if you don't have paint, if you get tin foil, you would stick tin foil around, put some glue on, make sure it's really flat to the surface when you do it, and you would have a great metallic metal looking rocket, which obviously is what it will be made out of. So you could use foil to decorate it as well. And then what I'm going to show you here, and I'm just going to make sure, I'll just 2 seconds, because I need to make sure on the feed that you can see exactly what it is that I'm trying to show you. Okay, all right, that's good. So if you can see on the rocket that Daryl Wakelam has made, cocktail sticks, Lucy, brilliant, good idea. Yeah, cocktail sticks you could use to add detail. You can see we have flames coming out the back of the boosters. Okay, so good, and they made it fly across. Okay, we have flames coming out the back, so you again could paint something like that. But what they have done here is they have got red and orange and yellow colours from magazines, cut out pictures and stuck the little colours down to make a sort of like collage-y flame effect on there. Okay, so I'll try and get a little bit closer. Sorry, because the light is coming off, but they have, that is actually lots of different red and orange and yellow pieces of pictures and things from magazines cut out and stuck down to make those flames. So you could do that as well, and if you wanted to, you could do that for the whole rocket. It would take you a little bit longer, but I'm sure it would look really good. So I'm not going to decorate mine, okay, because lots of different ways you could do it, and if I did, I'm sure everyone would probably do it the same way as I did it, and I want you to do it in your own way and obviously save time. But what I am going to do is I'm going to show you a few more of the things that Daryl has on his website, because it is a brilliant website. And yes, I've used one of his today, but he has some really, really good ones. And the one I've done today, you might find a bit tricky, a bit hard, but the more you do these crafts, the better you'll get. But there are some really, really good ones, some really cool looking things that he has made and he has used, okay? He's only used stuff that you're going to find around the house, because obviously we're stuck in our houses at the minute, and he's used things like egg cartons, milk cartons, toilet roll tubes, yogurt pots, things like that to make some brilliant art. And I chose this one because it was simple. We only needed toilet roll tubes really, and I didn't know what everyone would have. Okay, I didn't know whether people would have egg boxes and paper plates, or the right type of milk carton and things like that. So I've just done this one. Okay, I'm going to show you some of the examples, because if you're bored, you're looking for something to do, and you like your art and you like your crafts, he has got some really good examples. And I'm going to start going through them now, because I took some screenshots earlier on. Again, I did ask Daryl if I could use this. He was happy with it, and he did say that I need to do him proud, so there was no pressure. So hopefully I have. Now I'm going to just move this light a little bit out another direction so it's not reflecting, so it might go a little bit darker, but you should be able to see the screen better. Okay, right, so I'll just wait for that light to move. Right, so this is the one that we've done. So what he does on his page is he puts a picture up of what it is that you are going to be creating. Okay, puts up a picture of what it is you're going to be creating, but then he also puts up a page like this which shows you exactly how to make it, and that's what we followed today. I have just talked you through them, okay, rather than looking at the instructions. So I'm going to go and show you through some of the things that is made. So you can see here, this is just the front page. You can make a monkey out of an egg box. Who wouldn't want to do that? Okay, and again, there's an instruction page. He's made one of the Easter Island heads. I like that one. That's really cool. Look at that. Okay, and obviously how you decorate them is completely up to you. But that one, again, is only using toilet roll tubes. Bit more complicated, but looks really good. An amazing dolphin there, okay? And that's not a picture, that's like 3D, okay, this one here. So really, really cool. You can see he's already done two different ones, so you can do them in different styles. Then there's our egg carton. He made it into Mr. Penguin here. We have paper plate alien. We have an egg box mouse. Look, that is a really cool. I was going to do that one, but I didn't know if everyone would have one of these crunch corner or muller corner things, so I couldn't do it. But that one is really cool, and you get really creative on there. Paper plate. That's some of the instructions for. Okay, so we end up making that, and then it can turn out like that. It depends how arty you are. Okay. One is for flamingo. Look, there's our flamingo. And you make it out of just a normal 6 egg box. We have a cool looking robot again, just out of an egg box. And then we have a octopus. Okay, sort of with a pirate ship in there. And again, that's what it looks like when you make it. And you add it in. One that matches with our VE Day thing tomorrow. You can use toilet roll tubes to make some planes. Really cool looking dragon. So there are loads on there. So I've showed you quite a few. There were loads of good ones on there. Now I've just went through them. I didn't show you all the instructions or anything like that, but they are all on his Twitter page, and I have put the Twitter handle, his name, it's just his name, Daryl Waltman, in the description. You can copy and paste it, and if you want to do any other art or any crafts and you've got stuff around the house, they are absolutely brilliant to be making some things. Okay, so don't know whether you can see me there now. So I thought I would let you know about those things, because I think a lot of you will do some really good really good art with them. Make sure the lights are shining. Right, okay, so that's the instructions to the robot, the rocket. Sorry, if you need to go back or anything and have a look over, you can see them there. Too close to the camera there. You can go back through the instructions, have a look at them. I want you obviously to decorate them in whichever way you want to, really creative ways, things like that. I would love to see you always do it. Look, Mr. Beach did a plain grey one with red on it. I'm sure you will do better. Please, please, please send the pictures in. I will send them to the artist who made these, who made the instructions guide. I'm sure you'll be over the moon to see all your artwork, and I'll put them up on my Twitter, my Instagram, and my Facebook, and that's where you can send them to as well. When you finish your Mr. Biggins 123, you can send the what you've made to those, and I'll make sure that the artist gets to look at them. So really, really have a good go at them. Make sure you decorate them the best of your ability before you send them in to me. Okay. Apart from that, we are done for today. Remember, it is a bank holiday tomorrow, so there are no lessons as to say tomorrow that on my YouTube channel. But from 3 till 4, we do have the stay-at-home street party, which I'm starting to get really excited for. So there's Mrs. Carthy has made a brilliant activities pack for you. That's on our Padlet, and you can get it there. If you can't find it, get in contact with me, I'll let you know. So there's loads of cool things that you can do to help make some bunting, to help make some pictures, to decorate your house for VD. It's a really special one because it's 75th anniversary. That's why the bank holiday has moved, I think. It's normally on the Monday. And we are going to have a street party together 3 till 4. Okay, tune into my YouTube channel. I'll be playing all the music that you've picked. Last chance to get some of the your requests in. Okay, so I'll be playing all the music for you. I'm going to be out in the street because I've sent letters around my neighbours, so we're going to be having a socially distant street party. Okay, everyone's going to be in. I'm going to have big speakers. We're going to be playing some music in. Hopefully you guys can as well. Tell your friends, tell your family, so you all listen to the same music at the same party, even though you have to be sort of in your own house. You know, say I've seen loads of people with the discos. Normally you're on Zoom or on WhatsApp or on FaceTime talking to each other while they've got the music and stuff on in the background. And I have got a mic now, so if you want any hellos, if you want any shout outs in your song requests, things like that, Mr. DJ B's voice will be coming back, which Mrs. Carthy's been waiting for I think 4 years now. She's been waiting to hear my DJ voice from back in the day. So that will be coming back, so I'll be able to say hello to you, hello to your friends, to your family for you. Okay, so please come along tomorrow. It'll be absolutely brilliant. Share it and get it around. Apart from that, thank you. I can see how hard you've been working there today. Because I saw how quiet the chat went when we started really getting into the cutting and the making stuff, which shows me that you were really, really trying and concentrating, rather than just chatting and stuff in there. If you didn't have the stuff today, I apologise. I did put it out about a week ago to try and let you know, but you can obviously you can watch the video again because this will stay on my YouTube channel, so you can have a go at making it there as well. If you know anyone else that would maybe enjoy making this, you can send them the video, and obviously if you're watching this on the repeat, you can still send me to my to my Twitter, Instagram and Facebook, Mr. Biggins 123. You can still send me. I would love to see what you've made from this video and from for Daryl's tutorials. Thank you very much for coming along. Thank you very much for Daryl Wakeham's brilliant ideas and letting us use them today. And thank you to you guys for working really, really hard. I'll stick around the chat if there's any questions or anything like that for 4 or 5 minutes or so, and then I will be off. So if you've headed off already or heading off now, see you later. Good luck with decorating your rockets. Oh, I just noticed you can see the screen there. That's Inception, isn't it? Let's have a look. Okay, bye Tom, bye Charlie. Yes, you stay safe as well, guys. See you later, Milo. See you later, Joseph. You're welcome if you're still there. Bye-bye to Ta for now. Stay safe. Lovely sentiment there. See you later. Amelia, who sings Say So. Remember, I'm an old man now. That's a long time since I used to DJ. Who sings that song? And I'll try and get it on for you. Say So. Am I being really old? Mrs. Carthy's probably going to tell me I'm being really old now. And Mrs. Carthy said I'm still writing on my hand. Yes, I am. I'm going to write this on my hand as well. The only notepad I never lose. So, Say So. Amelia. You don't know. I will find it. Don't you worry, Amelia. I'll find it. That's absolutely fine. What a tune, Billy. Yes, Billy, that'd be fine. See you later, Amelia. Thanks for coming along. See you later, Billy. Say hello to the family and Nancy for me. Right, looks like there's no real sort of questions or anything like that in the chat. So I'm going to get off there now. If you do need any help, just comment on the video or send it to the socials or anything like that, and I'm sure I can give you a hand with those. Okay, take care for now, and oh, Buster's running around my feet. Where is he? See if he wants to say goodbye. Buster, he was around my feet. So, what must I say? Being shy. Okay, so from Buster, say bye, Buster. Bye, Buster. Okay, and from me, catch you tomorrow, 3 to 4. Can't wait to see you then. All right, goodbye.